We're in the third chapter of Shekalim, and we left the story actually on a cliffhanger. So the emissary of the temple had gone into the storehouse where the half-shekalim were kept, and he was about to withdraw the funds. And he would say to them, "Should I make the withdrawal?" And they would say to him, "Trom, trom, trom." Withdraw, withdraw, withdraw. They tell it to him 3 times. And we learned that he would do this actually 3 times a year, 2 weeks before each one of the foot festivals, the regalim. And now the Mishnah picks up, the 4th Mishnah in chapter 3, picks up and just discusses exactly what he does when he withdraws funds from the storehouse. So in other words, he's going to withdraw funds into these baskets. We learned he's got 3 baskets. Each basket is about 3 seah in volume. And he's going to take the cash that's been contributed, he's going to put it in the baskets, and then we're going to take away the baskets and spend the money on, well, we'll see later today what we're going to spend the money on. And he's going to do this 3 times a year. Taram et harishona umchapeh bi ketvaliot. He's going to make the first withdrawal and he covers it up with leather covers. So this will be the first one just before Pesach. So it's going to be round about the 1st of Nisan. Shnia umchapeh bi ketvalaot. And he's going to cover over with leather covers again. Why is he covering it over? Well, around about the 1st of Nisan, most of the funds from the land of Israel have already come in. But money is still coming in from nearby cities and from faraway cities. And money will continue coming in between Pesach and Shavuot. And when he makes the second withdrawal on Shavuot, he wants to make sure that he's withdrawing money that's been sent in between Pesach and Shavuot. In other words, it's the technique he's using, we would call in modern stock flow systems, last in, first out. So when he withdraws on Shavuot, he wants to start by withdrawing the money that's most recently been contributed. So when he finishes on Pesach, he's going to put this leather cover on the piles of Shekalim. All the new Shekalim that come in after Pesach are going to go on top of the leather cover. And then next time he withdraws, he's going to withdraw the fresh money. And so it goes the second time. Shlishit, lo haya machapeh. Third time round, he doesn't cover. Well, the third time round's before Sukkot. He doesn't need to cover then because that's effectively the end of the year. So anything more that he draws down that year, he can draw down from essentially any one of the contributions. And all we're doing for the rest of the year is drawing down what we need, and then a new year will start off 6 months later at the beginning of Nisan in the following year. So, Shlishit lo haya machapeh. Why does he cover? Shema yishkach v'yitrom min ha'davar ha'tarom. He covers it up in case he would forget and make a new appropriation from, if you like, a batch of shekalim that had already had funds taken from them. How does it work? Taram et harishona l'shem Eretz Yisrael. The first appropriation is in the name of the land of Israel, because generally speaking, the half-shekel from the land of Israel would kind of land in the storehouse before the 1st of Nisan. Ushniya l'shum krachim hamukafim la. And the second comes from the cities which surround the land of Israel. Those are going to be places like, places close to Amman, Moab, places which are domestic, places which are close enough that they can get there before Shavuot. V'hashlishit l'shum Bavel, u'shum Madai, u'shum Midot harochokot. And the third withdrawal, that's the one on Sukkot, that's on behalf of Babylon and Media and behalf of distant countries. So he takes a third. He takes a third off each time he goes in, and he hopes that he covers different types of contributors each time round, so that the total he takes off represent over the course of the year, he takes off money that represents effectively the contributions of the whole of the nation of Israel, however far or however near they are. What does he do with the money? Hatrua mayu osimba. What do they do with the money? לוקחים בה תמידים ומוספים ונזקיהם, העומר ושתי הלחם ולחם הפנים וכל קורבן הציבור. So they buy the daily burnt offerings and the additional burnt offerings and their libations and the omer and the 2 loaves. The 2 loaves are the loaves that they'll present on the altar at Shavuot, and the showbread lechem hapanim, that goes on the altar every Shabbat, and all the other public offerings. Shomrei sfichim b'shvi'it, notlin scharan mitruat halishka. People who guard the aftergrowths of the 7th year take their wages from the withdrawal from the chamber. So remember that the produce in the 7th year is hefker. Anybody who wants to can go into the fields and take it. But the Bet Din would set out guards who would guard as much of the produce as they need for the Omer offering and for the 2 loaves on Shavuot, because if the Bet Din doesn't have access to enough grain to bring those 2 offerings, those offerings are needed for the temple. And if in the 7th year we can't buy that grain, we need to collect it from the hefker. So they'd send out guards to guard it. And Rabbi Yossi Omer, Af harotzeh mitnadev shumeh chinam. If a person wished, they could volunteer to watch without getting paid. Amrulo, but they said to him, Afata Omer she'einam ba'im ele mishel tzibur. But you two admit that they can only be offered out of public funds. The principle of the sacrifices is that they're all offered out of public funds. They come out of the money collected from the half-shekel. They belong equally to the whole people of Israel. Everybody has to contribute. The rich don't contribute more than a half-shekel. The poor don't contribute less. If you're liable for the half-shekel, you have to give. And the sacrifices belong to absolutely everybody together. So Rabbi Yossi, those who object to Rabbi Yossi, the Chachamim who are objecting to Rabbi Yossi, are saying, hang on, sure, someone can volunteer to guard without getting paid, but in that case, he's made a contribution to the offerings which are not strictly from public funds, because he's taken this grain, which is hefker, and he's brought it to the temple. So the grain that he's brought is no longer a public contribution, it's his personal contribution. That's their problem with Rabbi Yossi. And the Rambam agrees. I brought you the Rambam because he's so clear. The Rambam agrees, actually, not because of this problem of public and private. The Rambam seems to agree that a private person can donate his labor, if you like, into the temple, and then that labor is just considered part of the public funds. So the Rambam doesn't prevent someone volunteering for that reason. But there's also a security issue. So the Rambam explains, in the sabbatical year, when the produce is ownerless, the court hires watchmen to protect the produce that grows, so they can offer the omer and the 2 loaves, because those can only come from a new harvest. And these watchmen receive their wages from the withdrawal from the chamber. And if someone volunteers to watch the produce without charge, someone who offers to watch without charge, ein shomin lo, we don't listen to him. Mishum ba'alei zroa, because of strong men, shema yavo v'yitlum mehen, maybe some thug will come along and steal the new grain. Therefore, the sage is ordained that the watchman should be paid from the funds of the temple treasury, not because they believed that the individuals volunteering would turn the grain into a non-public offering, but they wanted to make sure that the watchmen are paid from the treasury, so that everybody will know these are temple watchmen sitting there, and everybody will stay away from that place where the guards are posted. Everybody will kind of keep clear of that place. What else did they buy with the offerings? So the heifer and the scapegoat and the strip of scarlet. This is the scarlet which is burnt with the heifer. They all come from the withdrawal from the chamber. Kevesh para, the kevesh sa'ir, the kevesh sa'ir hamishtalech, the lashon shebein karnav, the ramp for the heifer, and the ramp for the scapegoat, and the strip of scarlet that was between its horns. What's the ramp? So they used to build a special ramp for the heifer, so the heifer could exit Jerusalem without coming into contact with any possible source of tumah. So they build a kind of a ramp. This is the kevesh is a ramp. They build a ramp through the city so the heifer could be taken out without coming into contact with the city. And they also built a ramp for the scapegoat, the Sa'ir HaMishtalech, the scapegoat that was sent away on Yom Kippur, because they were anxious that people would kind of grab it or bash it or try and pull its hair out as it left Jerusalem. They wanted to leave Jerusalem safely, so they built a ramp from the Temple Mount to outside the city so that it could get out of the city safely. So these are the ramps. What else did they pay for? So the pool of water, this is maintenance of the pool of water. In other words, maintenance of the well and the wall of the city and its towers and all of the needs of the city came out of the remainder of the money that's in the chamber. So we've collected the money for the sacrifices. It's sitting in the chamber, and what is left over can be put to public works. Abba Shaul says, Abba Shaul Omer, Kevesh Para Koim Gdolim Osin Oto Mishel Atzman. There is an idea in the Yerushalmi that the high priests would make a new ramp for the heifer each time a new high priest was appointed. So it's as if each high priest didn't want to use the ramp that their predecessor had made, maybe in case it had become impure. And Abba Shaul said the high priest would pay for that ramp. And the Rambam says that the halacha does not go according to Abba Shaul.